Hello, and welcome to our cooking show. I am your host Oliver, and today we are baking with Norden Dempsey and Bloomy Soliver. So, what are we baking today?
Today we are baking classical Swedish cinnamon buns and raspberry and chocolate muffins.
Sounds delicious.
Let's get right to it. So we're going to start by crumbling the yeast into a bowl. And while I do that, can you start blending the butter?
Yeah, right. Alright, so this is a 50 grams butter. I'm just gonna, take a nice spoon and I see that it's not really that hot, but we can just raise the temperature. Like so. Nice with A. Nice with A. So yeah, you can see that the butter is starting to melt down there. Now you don't want to make it too hot because I've had some bad memories of this. So this is 50 grams of butter that we're just gonna grab it all up. It's a little hot actually. Yeah, we can see that it's really starting to melt. You want to do it really carefully because otherwise they can just be like smoke all over the place. Alright, so you need to make sure that it's like a nice temperature because you don't want anything too hot. Yeah, you can be like stirred around so like and saucy. I'm a professional, so I know how to do this. I always bring, if I do this actually sits with like real point, it's really nice. Right, so yes, it's almost like just get there. So yeah, set on it. And yeah, here you go. Right, so can you fetch me the milk, Jordan?
Yeah, sure.
Right,
there you go.
Thanks, mate. Alright, so we're just gonna pour it in today's saucepan like so. I'm gonna stir it so it like gets really nice. Right, so this is nice. I'm just gonna add this to the yeast.
Yep.
Like so.
Oh, and by the way, why do we need the yeast?
It makes the dough rise. It makes it light and fluffy.
Oh.
Like so.
Alright, so after a bit of stirring, it should look a bit like that.
Okay. Yeah. So now we're going to start by adding the dry ingredients. So we're going to start by adding half the sugar. Gently, not everything at once. A bit more. Like so. And most of the flour.
Why not all of it?
Because, you know, once you're kneading the dough, you don't want the dough to stick to the surface, so you put some flour on the surface.
Yeah, something like that. There we go. That looks beautiful.
And a pinch of salt, right?
Yeah, pinch of salt. Yeah, there we go.
It's really nice.
Yeah. So now we're just gonna knead the dough by hand or machine until it's and then let's go the bowl when you flip it upside down. And then it's time for the yeasting. So after a bit of kneading, it should look a bit like this. You should let go of the bowl really easily and just not stick to your hands. You may need a lot of flour to do this. It took a while, so we didn't film much of it, but some of it, so you saw. Now it's time for the fermenting. So we're just gonna put a towel over it and just let it rest for 30 minutes or so.
Alright, so now we're going to make the filling, and for that we will need the rest of the sugar, 50 grams of butter, and just some cinnamon in it, like that. So we're gonna mix it all together. And then whisk really something. Like so. Ooh. Right, you need to be careful what you do. Me and Norden, we are professionals, so we know how it is done.
Well, I shouldn't touch it.
There we go.
Alright, so now that the dough is fermented, we are going to knead it.
Yes. So for this, you just need some flour so it doesn't stick. Like so. A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah. You can have more if you need to. Like so.
Right, so
Yeah.
take it just like that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just roll it around. Make sure you get all of that flour. Now that we have kneaded the dough, we are supposed to spread that filling over the dough. And you can tell right away that it's really nice.
Yeah. Could someone maybe get a baking tray ready?
Sure.
Right, so now it is time for the fermenting. We have been fermenting for 20 minutes now, and we have topped them off with some egg and some pearl sugar. Now we will put them in the oven for 8 minutes at 250 degrees Celsius.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think they look delicious.
Sure do.
Alright, so I'm just gonna, do like that.
Pop them in the oven.
Careful now so you don't tip them out.
Yeah, well I would never do that.
No.
Don't be silly now.
We do this.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, this is fine. So good.
I don't.
Middle of the oven.
And like that. I'm gonna just push them in and up with that. Alright, so we have just taken the buns out of the oven, and they look finished.
Look good to me.
Yeah. You want to try one?
Sure. Why not?
It's for everyone.
It's good.
Really?
Please open the door. You're late.
Alright, so we had some technical difficulties, and I guess that was all for the cinnamon buns, so now it's time for the chocolate and raspberry muffins. So take it away, Bambi Doom and Gendy Darius.
Hello.
Good evening.
So we are here to make some chocolate and raspberry muffins. Here's everything you need. You need butter, you need cocoa, you need raspberries, of course, sugar, flour, vanilla powder, and baking soda.
Alright, so I have already prepared some muffin trays on the actual baking tray. So here we have it, in the correct order. So yeah.
So I'm gonna melt the butter in this saucepan. Like so. There we go. Gonna have to wait a little bit though. Turn on the heat. If it works, there we go. And it's starting to melt here.
That is perfect.
So, the butter is done. And now we're going to whisk the sugar and the eggs. So you're going to put this into this bowl. While I get
Just pour it all just like that, like around the edges, so it just mixes perfectly. You can see here how I do it. Just like that.
So now we're gonna whisk it. sort of light and fluffy. It's not really done yet. Like so. There we go. Really fluffy, really bubbly. Now that it's done and fluffy, we're gonna pour in all of the dry ingredients. Now I'm gonna pour in the butter because it's sort of dry. The melted butter and pour. Careful. There we go. And whisk it around. And you can see that it's really nice and moist now. Now we're almost done with the dough. So, could you fetch me the baking soda and the vanilla? And so, baking soda. Now that you've had poured that in, don't take it on full speed. Then it might cause bubbles, and it won't be really that good. And now it's done.
Alright, so now we've finally prepared the muffin. And now we're gonna proceed to top it off with about 2 raspberries per muffin tray.
So we're gonna take 1, 2,
Yeah, that's good.
there, top it off. It's gonna melt into the muffin. It doesn't look like it's gonna be beautiful, but when they're in the oven, they're gonna swell and they're gonna look so beautiful.
Yeah, they're gonna look completely different.
Okay, so finally we're gonna put it in the oven for 15 minutes on 200 degrees. Remove the thing, there we go. And just shove it in there in the middle. And let it stand there for 15 minutes. Open it up. Look. And pull them out. Careful. Let's do this. And done.
In classical Swedish silver buns and
Sounds
muffins,
delicious.
like chocolate and raspberry muffins.
Let's get to it. Let's start by crumbling yeast into a bowl. And meanwhile, as I do that, can you start melting the butter?
What am I?
That's fine.
So this is 50 grams of butter. Grab it all. Oh, that's a little hot actually. This is what? Yeah, but it's good. And you want to get it like really.
Vi får göra om det där. Det här ser väldigt fel ut.
I agree!
Ja, jag tror inte bullar ska bli så här.
Det har aldrig hänt mig.
Nej, vi får varva på. Vi kukade upp det här hårt.
It's all good because I'm a professional. It's supposed to be like
Fine,
this.
mate. So now that we about 20 minutes, 250 degrees Celsius. That would be 8 minutes. But yeah, fine.
Vi kör. Okej, nu måste vi köra.
Ja.
Vi har backrecorder nu, så kör. Fan, jag kör nu då!
Hopefully. Yeah. You can try one now, by the way.
Okej, vänta. Cut!
But we have left them. They have been fermenting for 20 minutes now. And we have topped them off. They have been fermenting for about 20 minutes now, and we have topped them off with some egg and some burnt sugar. Alright, so any comments?
Well, I think
Alldeles för snabbt. We have left these buns. These buns have been fermenting for about 20 minutes. Yeah, I think you pull the thing down.
Yeah,
Yeah, down.
Yeah.
No,
No, it's up.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I mean,
whatever you just did.
You maybe should redo this.
I-
Yeah, this is fine. So good. So we have taken them out of the oven and they look finished.
It was pretty good to me. Yeah.
Want to try one?
Yeah, sure.
Tryck på riktigt, Oliver!
Too late.